Hello everyone and welcome to round 2 of the Idlewild Open presented by Dynamic Disc and the Natty. My name's Madison Walker.
And I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're two hot keys.
Honk.
Today we are watching Paige Pierce, Paige Shue, Sarah Hokom, and Juliana Korver.
All-star card.
Yeah, two of these ladies under par yesterday, which is amazing. Almost 1,000 rated rounds. And Sarah and Juliana not too far behind.
4 world champs all on one card attacking the beautiful Idlewild Disc Golf Course. Before we go, we'll check out the leaderboard. Rebecca Cox is right there in the mix. Holly Finley as well, and Alexis Mandujano had a solid first round.
There's a hot goose on the bottom of that.
Hole 1 is a par 4. It's 638 feet. There's out of bounds all the way down the left-hand side, and there's a big sloping hill on the right-hand side. The basket is elevated, and there's a big drop-off behind the basket that makes your approach and your putt a little bit deathy, a little scary, and it's not just a small hill, it is a gigantic downhill.
That tree also kind of blocks some of your upshots.
FPO LEAD card out of Plano, Texas, representing Discraft and Grip EQ, Paige Pierce.
Today was a little bit of a tailwind, kind
Yeah,
of a crosswind, as opposed to the headwind we had in the round prior.
it was much cooler today, but definitely a bit breezier. This looks like a Zeus just absolutely smashed. Looks like she's going to land close to that tree, which is so far. Yeah, she's going to have a super easy pitch up for her birdie.
Next up, out of Charlotte, North Carolina, representing Team Dynamic Disc, Paige Shue.
Really awesome to see Paige back out on tour for 2 events. I know she misses being at home with the family, a new baby, but we love to watch her on these wooded courses shredding, throwing that putter over and over again.
Throwing this Ballista Pro a ton today.
Smashed.
Yeah, it just needs to come back. And great shot. I think we have like 10 world championships between this card.
Oh my god.
Next up, out of Caldwell, Idaho, representing Team MVP, Sarah Hokom.
13.
13 world championships. You guys picked a good card to watch today.
Look at that wind go. It was pretty swirly today. It changed a lot.
Those flags make the wind seem so much more dramatic. They're so noisy.
That was her trace, and she trickled a little bit down the hill, but should be in an okay spot.
Rounding out the FPO LEAD card out of San Diego, California, representing Innova Champion Disc, Juliana Korver.
And she rejoined the tour, and it's like no time has passed. We've seen her a ton on coverage, top 10 lead cards, just killing it. And this is a really common mistake where you end up turning it a little bit too much down the hill, but you can actually still get a birdie from down there with a really good shot.
Yeah, she's still got good footing. It looks like she might have a gap as well that she can work through. There's one big tree that you can see to the left of Hokom that does have some low-hanging branches that makes it tough, but we'll see what happens.
She just had to miss that tree and she'd be putting. I guess she could still try to putt that if she wants, but it's a bad idea.
It's a terrifying putt to run.
Ooh, that is a tiny gap. I wonder if she's going out right or low. Low. And turned.
She makes it through the low-hanging branches, and she'll be able to get easy up and down for par from there.
Yeah, she might have to deal with that tree just a bit. Everybody's least favorite person, Zach Melton, caddying for Paige Shue. I'm just kidding. We love Zach.
With the uphill run-up, Paige
Ooh.
still throwing a really, really awesome shot, barely buzzing the lighthouse.
Yeah, it's too bad it didn't hit and stop, but she's close. It's a really beautiful shaped shot. Man, Paige with just a little pitch up here. Wow.
Excellent. Sarah throwing her third shot, hoping to just get it up there close.
Yep, that's an Envy, the same disc that James Conrad threw in at Worlds. Seems like a pretty good disc. Yeah, this tree's definitely in her way.
Yeah.
And she's a little farther than I thought.
Such a touchy shot with the uphill and the low-hanging branches. There she goes,
Yeah, she's
inside
right
the
there.
circle.
All right.
This is like the best distance to make on the first hole to build confidence. Yep.
Yes. Love
Down
the uphill run or shot is the best on this hole because you don't have to look at that death putt. You don't have to look at the huge hill
Like this.
like this. This is worst case scenario on the green.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh, don't roll.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, that's a terrible spot too.
It's easy to get a little nervy on that putt.
You just know if you miss it, the chances of it rolling are incredibly high.
I don't think this is out of bounds.
No, just rough.
Yeah.
Did she get to the circle's edge? A little inside.
Is this for 6? Oh my gosh. Sit down.
Man, rough way to start.
It's so easy to let nerves happen on elevated baskets, especially when it's windy and it's hole 1. I mean, it's like worst case scenario.
Good par from Sarah. Ooh, quad to start. We'll see if she can bounce back after that. It's easy to let one bad putt spiral.
I'll say one thing. She's not the only one that took a quad this week. I did too.
Solidarity. Hole 2 is a challenging par 4. You can throw a forehand or a turnover backhand just past this tree. It's OB all the way on the left side. Then you have to cross this pond, and the OB continues all along the left. You can get across in 2 and make it an easy par or even birdie, but a lot of the shots filter into the water and make it really difficult. If you don't get off the tee well, you have to pitch less than 100 feet and then leave a really challenging up shot to try to scramble for your par. Paige with her passion.
This is one of those holes where if you do get a birdie, I think it feels more like an eagle.
Yeah, a beagle.
Paige turns it over early, but it gets through all the stuff.
Yeah, gets a little lucky there. She should be able to go across pretty easy. It was a good line. It was just a 1 foot to the inside. This course really just demands perfection.
Mm-hmm. I said the exact same thing yesterday after the round. I feel like I need to be perfect here.
Yeah. I think that's a Sargent, and she almost had it. That might have been a good kick. It looked like it could have faded out towards the OB. But she'll have to make a decision whether to go across or not.
The sidearm is definitely the best route on this hole. It sets up for a sidearm play, but she catches that tree at the last second.
Yeah, sidearm's definitely the highest percentage play. I'm going to try it today. This looks pretty.
This looks great.
Wow, yeah. What a bounce back after the rough start.
That's one of the best drives I've seen on this hole.
Mm-hmm.
Paige with some challenging uphill footwork, having to negotiate this pond. Oh my gosh, that's such a scary shot.
I think she's got it. Oh, barely.
By just feet.
Even though that's risky, it's super worth it because now her par's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this looks like a pitch up.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Although, if anyone would feel comfortable throwing for their par from there, it's Sarah Hokom.
well, it's true. Coming in with a sidearm is the smart play.
Mm-hmm.
This looks pretty.
That looks great. Really gentle
Yeah.
turn. Fade
Good.
softly on the hill.
Good speed control. I think she went OB left the day before, and so just took some speed off. Gave herself a look if she wants it, but it's a little too turn, but good distance. I think she's almost pin high.
She'll have a kind of steep downhill look at the basket.
Sarah with her shock.
Yeah, going for the green.
Wow.
Wow.
That is such a good scramble from there. Anytime you pitch up, you know you're bringing bogey into play.
Yeah, she makes that look easy. It is not an easy shot. And it plays a little bit longer than 300 feet. Really nice up and down from Paige for an easy par. That feels great on this hole. The wind and the hills on the first few holes of this course get in your head so easily.
Chose to lay up. It does roll a little bit, but she's relatively close. Paige looking like she's going for it for birdie. Man. She's stoked about that one. There can't have been many birdies on the day today.
Yeah, let's watch it in slow-mo. This is such a scary putt because if you miss, you fade way down the hill and possibly roll. So what a great grab.
What a great reaction.
Gotta celebrate those good shots.
Yeah, she's starting to pull away just by a couple strokes. I mean, that can change at any time, but...
Really nice comeback from Juliana. Shaking off those hole one nerves.
Good scramble from Hokom.
Hole 3 is a par 3, but it's 407 feet. It is downhill, but it is a scary 407 feet. There's OB all the way down the left-hand side, and then OB in this gully just before the basket. It is inside the circle and right in the landing zone, especially for a backhand shot off the tee. It's super downhill, but with some low-hanging branches and some trees on the right-hand side, so it requires like a very straight shot.
Yeah, super laser beam. Or like a hyzer flip.
Yep. And you want it to resist the downslope of the hill, which is really hard to get your disc to do. It's like an anhyzer into a hill, but don't touch it.
Yeah, you'll cut roll.
You will cut roll so fast.
Ballista Pro again.
Paige working that right side. It's easy to do when you start thinking about the left side OB. It's also safe over there. So if you're not trying to get the distance to get all the way to the green, that is a great place to land.
Yeah, it's a very common layup zone if you're not feeling frisky.
I love the sidearm play here because you can throw something overstable and just have it carry, but I don't know if Hokom was going for it or not.
We saw her layup yesterday. I think she's just playing for the par, which is smart.
Mm-hmm.
Not that many people are going to birdie this.
And a lot of times if you land in that gully, you have to take it on the side where it last crossed, so you're on the far side. It gives you a tester putt to save your par.
This looks pretty.
This looks great.
It just needs to not land in that creek. I said not land in that creek. Yeah.
I think that bush is somehow like probably the most common landing zone on the hole.
It's so frustrating.
It is.
It just doesn't reward good shots.
Mm-mm. Yeah, out of bounds inside the circle never feels good from a player perspective.
Yeah. Good layup for Paige's par.
This played is the 10th most difficult hole of the day, right around the middle of the pack. 57% of the field with a par, but there was only one birdie.
I thought that was perfect. I thought it was too. It looked beautiful. Glad it was.
This would be an awesome par save. Looks like she's 35-ish. Maybe she just chose to lay up. Hard to say.
Ellen Widboom with the only 2
Very nice.
on the day. And that goes to show you how difficult this hole really is. I wonder how many people laid up and how many people were going for it. There was 40% of the field with a bogey or worse.
I bet a lot of those are in the creek and missed the putt.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of those.
We can all relate to that on hole 3. And we leave the woods temporarily to go back out into the wind.
Yeah, hole 4 is 334 feet. OB sidewalk on the right, OB water line all the way on the left. Pretty steep right to left sloping green to an elevated pin. This, I think, is a bonus birdie. You know, you can get there, especially big arms, but you're just throwing a hyzer and letting it filter down and hoping you get a putt. Ooh.
Okay, sign. Oh, I gotta figure this hole out.
I think that's how we all feel.
Yeah.
It's just trying to pick the spot on the hill where you want to aim to let it filter down. Because if you land a hyzer on that green, it's so skippy. It can be so skippy. But it's funny, if you land it further up on the hill, it just grabs onto the grass and doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
It's...
there's a middle zone.
Yeah, somewhere.
It's
hard
in
to
there.
find for some reason.
Paige, unfortunately, there was a little bit too early. Skips into the out of bounds water. Hokom looking for that to carry, and look at that, it sure does.
Yeah.
But it leaves her with one of the scariest putts on the course.
That was her insanity. Really beautiful line. This course is very friendly for power sidearms.
Juliana going for the super safe, conservative route.
And that sticky grass that just grabs you.
Unless you're on the green.
Paige jump putting from 125 feet.
Looking for it to just lay down.
Bit longer of a putt than she wants, but going uphill, not at the water. The key here is just to land this flat and match the angle of the hill so it doesn't roll. Yep. Oh, she's got a chance to... Nope.
So Paige has a tendency to play conservative, but at this point, I wouldn't even call that conservative.
It's smart.
That's smart. That's a really hard putt, and if you hit the cardboard surrounding the bottom of the pin, it has a tendency to kick it up on edge and make it roll.
God, Hokom's hilarious.
Paige for her 3. Doesn't quite give it the juice it needs.
I think maybe she was trying to account for the breeze. Hard to say. It didn't quite look like her normal speed on the disc.
That can happen so fast on these elevated pins. And y'all, even the best in the world 3-putt sometimes.
Yeah, not the one I would have guessed. Paige would take a double bogey on, but literally any of these holes it can happen.
I feel like this is one of the meanest greens on the course, though.
Yeah, that's true.
There are some mean greens out at Idlewild.
Good par from Sarah and Juliana.
Check in with the leaderboard and see how everyone's doing. A bunch of people sitting at even par through 4. some of those on our lead card. Missy Gannon under par through 6, and I got to play on the card with her. She was playing super clean all the way through the front 9.
Rebecca Cox even as well. Even's going to be an amazing score out here.
Hole 5 is a tweener hole. It's a par 3, maybe should be a par 4 for the women. It's 426 feet, but it's really hard to get through all of these trees to get down into the landing zone to give yourself a putt for birdie. There's out of bounds on that creek all the way down the left-hand side that wraps around the backside of the green as well. This plays as the most difficult hole of the day in round 2, and that does not surprise me one bit.
You basically just have to pick one side of the large tree in the middle. That tree right there. She didn't pick a side. She went right at it.
Still not bad there. I mean,
it's fine.
It's one of the better landing zones. If you're too far left, there's so many little sticky trees that there's not a fair way to get to the green.
Well, the right's pretty dense too.
Yeah, there's lots of woods, and you can get pinched off really quickly and be forced to pitch out.
That right side is a little bit safer because it's farther from the OB, but it's a smaller gap and a touchier shot.
And like you can see just happened with Juliana's disc, thankfully not too far, you can cut roll into all the way across the fairway into the out of bounds creek on the left-hand side.
Yeah, she sat okay, but both her and Sarah will probably lay up short of the green and try to make a little bit longer putt. This looks awesome.
Yeah, one of the best drives I've seen ever, even if it doesn't hit any trees.
Yeah, Missy Gannon had a good one yesterday. That was about the same spot. That's about the closest look we're going to see, I'd imagine, for birdie. It's hard to get much closer than that.
Yeah,
That looks like a buzz or a fierce. It's definitely a slower speed disc from Paige. I think a buzz.
Yeah. Wow. She one-ups Paige. Gets it all the way down to the sidewalk to the next hole. She'll have a jump putt for birdie.
Man, I knew it as soon as I said. Hard to get much closer.
That is just a rare ruby on this hole, though. We will not see many people doing that. 63% of the field with a bogey or worse on this hole. Juliana threw a decent drive and the best upshot she could muster, and still she will have a circle 2 putt to get just a par.
Looked like she's going all the way to the green and just pulled it 1 foot to the right. Looks like a good adjustment. Runs it a little bit. Jump putt for the rare birdie. We didn't see any birdies yesterday.
Really nice big from Paige. It's so easy for it to ramp off this. They have like a artificial turf on the green. It's so easy for it to ramp off of that and jump over the back wall into out of bounds.
Yeah, a lot of these greens look like mini golf holes.
They do.
Dead center, just an inch or two high.
There was only one birdie on the day by Haley King.
Man.
I have a feeling they'll be reassessing the par on this hole in years future.
Good par. Par feels wonderful here.
It sure does. Feels like a birdie. Paige with a pretty straightforward par.
Sarah settling for the bogey. And Juliana as well.
Bogey
They
doesn't.
like that.
Bogey does not feel bad on this hole, though.
The Combat Commander has enough space for all your discs here and everything else you need here. We beefed up the construction while keeping it lightweight and made sure there's ventilation so you can stay cool while waiting for your friends to throw because you just outdrove them. Or while you're looking for your disc in the OB. Either one.
the National Amateur Disc Golf Tour. Take your first step into competition or your final step into professionalism. Visit nadgt.com for more information.
Hole 6 is a par 3, 437 feet. You're trying to throw an Anheuser out this gap, miss this tree on the left, and land somewhere on the top of the hill. We did see a couple of birdies yesterday. Katrina threw an amazing roller, Paige threw a super long putt, but mostly you're just trying to play for par. These trees are really good at blocking backhands. You can find a gap, but I think a sidearm to go around the trees is the smarter play. There's OB long, but that doesn't usually come into play.
This is another 2-shot par 3 in most of the FPO players' notebooks.
A little bit too turned. She might not be able to see the basket from there.
The wind was kind of ripping on this tee pad.
Yeah, it was mostly a headwind, maybe like a little bit of a right to left.
Kind of a scary wind for this tee shot where you're relying on the disc to hold that Anheuser line but still come back and not dump too far to the right.
Wow.
Paige still going for big distance, even though it's definitely a riskier play.
Worth it. It seems like a really tight sidearm.
It does. It does not set up for the sidearm angle, even though it is an Anheuser line.
But as per usual, Hokom makes it work.
Mm-hmm.
This seems like it's too turned, but she's pretty far down there. It'll be a bit of a tricky upshot, but not a bad play.
This hole played pretty much 50-50. I almost gave a spoiler.
I believe that was a Vandal from Paige, and she's got a Circle's Edge putt for her par.
Sarah taking the trees out of play, going wide around the outside.
Yeah, and that is why the sidearm is a good play. Just miss all the trees. I landed here and have never done this but went Spike Heiser. It looks like Juliana is doing something similar. Actually, I think she was going low line and just threw too high.
Tough shot.
It is a little weird right there. You cannot throw a sidearm from there. It's too pinched.
Paige with another jump putt. Similar positioning to yesterday, but having to settle for the par. Now I can tell you we went about 50-50 par and bogey or worse. No birdies on the day.
Sorry for the spoilers, everyone.
I'm so sorry. Paige from Circle's Edge.
Nice par from Paige.
And that's 3 holes in a row that feel kind of like 2-shot holes. So I'm always relieved to get off this stretch. Actually, I would say that's 3 in a row that feel like 2-shot par 3s.
Yeah, if you par both of those, you are feeling unstoppable. Paige with a bogey, Juliana with the unfortunate double after the missed putt.
And we move on to a nice woodsy par 4. There's an uphill, tiny gap that you want to hit. Sidearm is definitely the play. You want to land by this stump and set yourself up for hopefully a straight shot to the green to get your easy birdie. It is steeply uphill though, and the landing zone is very small. The par is definitely accurate here. A lot of times it does take a couple shots to get even halfway up the fairway. If you push too deep here, like we see Paige doing, it definitely pinches off your second shot.
She'll still have an angle. If you enter into the tree line, it is a disaster.
It is.
Sidearm shapes up really nicely for this hole. If you get a little more to the right, you get the most open look. Oh
no.
And she almost had it, but that tree just kicks her off a little bit to the right.
I think right is the way to error, just as long as you're not too far right.
Yeah, I mean, you have like all of 12 feet to work with in the landing zone.
That looks great.
Yeah, it's a really common play as well, just a straight putter. It doesn't quite give you the perfect angle to attack for your birdie, but it's kind of an easy way to get par.
The crowd loved it.
Mm-hmm. There was so many cheers the last couple days. Like,
I think that was a back-to-back 70-footers hit.
Oh,
on
yeah.
the lead card.
I heard about that one.
It was a very loud roll.
Oh, man. That's a really unfortunate roll. Juliana does have to go to this drop zone, which is really punishing. It's, I'm not going to say impossible to get up there to save your par, but, I mean...
It's really tight. It's really steep uphill.
Oh, whoa. I don't
know where she is.
She's off to the right. Oh, she had a little gap.
Wow.
I just couldn't see where she was going to throw.
Like she was pointed the wrong direction.
Yeah. That was a great out. Paige having to throw a little bit of a hyzer and challenge these trees on the right-hand side.
Oof, she gets way down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's got a putt from 40-ish.
Paige not as deep as I thought.
Yeah, she doesn't have the straight shot. She still has to throw kind of a pinched off hyzer, but
it's a wide open line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Juliana gets herself inside the circle from a really tough spot in the woods.
Yeah, she threw down the walking path, not the fairway.
She's so
which
good.
Is creative.
Yeah, she's so good at getting power and accuracy on the disc from like scramble positions.
Well, that's because she has so much spin.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't know, Juliana is like a freestyler with a ultimate frisbee. It's really cool how she can just spin the disc forever.
Yeah, anytime I see her having to scramble from the woods, it's you know it's always going to be good. Paige for her birdie. A little low, but it lays down. It's all these greens you can so easily roll away.
No.
I did not.
Oh, she is having a rough go of it. It can happen to anyone at any time out here. And
it's just all happening
just
to her together.
Yeah. It's just so hard to pick. Oh, wow.
Yes.
It's so hard to do that, to pick yourself up after you have a couple bad breaks, a couple pretty good shots, but that get just absolutely destroyed or, kicked in the wrong way.
Really nice clean par from Sarah after scrambling out of the woods.
Good par from Lil Paige as well.
Just a handful of birdies on that hole for the day. Those feel real good. Moving to hole 8, one of the most difficult tee shots of the day. It's a par 5, and it's really important that you get all the way out of this gap to set yourself up to get that par or maybe even a birdie. You want to land down here in the middle by these couple of big trees, and then you want to enter the gap on your second shot. There is out of bounds on the left-hand side that can come into play on that first and second shot. You want to work your way around this tree on the right side with the sidearm, but you want to land soft because this green slopes downhill from left to right, and there's a bunch of stuff down there that you do not want to enter in and try to have to putt out of.
Common plays off the tee are a putter upshot to be conservative with a backhand. A flex sidearm is the aggressive play, and I've even seen fairway drivers kind of thrown a bit higher with the backhand off the tee. This was conservative, but still gets to about the perfect spot.
Yeah, that's, I think, a very common landing zone for the backhand.
This is a relay.
It's really hard when you're throwing this sidearm play like Sarah's doing to get it to hyzer out at the end. Hers does it perfectly. You can so easily go push a little bit too far into those woods deep.
That looks like a judge.
Really, I liked the aggressive inside play. I think that's the way to get the farthest down there.
Rough kick, though.
The place you want to avoid here, though, is the right side.
This looks like a fairway driver. And that is the aggressive backhand. Thrown pretty well. I think she caught a tree at the very end. It's just so hard not to challenge the trees when you're throwing a higher speed disc.
Paige forced to just pitch out. Does not leave her an easy shot by any means, but she can still get to the gap.
Pretty close. She'll have a chance to save her par. It'll take a really good shot, though. It's an even tighter gap up there, I think, than off the tee.
So
or exactly the same, anyway.
Yeah. You can see how tough that right side is. Juliana forced to take a patent pending stance out. She gets down there into the open.
Yeah, she'll be really pinched. She'll have a strange angle to try to get to the pin.
It was pointed out to me yesterday that essentially, I mean, you only have to throw really 5 120-foot shots.
Yeah, I told
to
you
get
that.
a par. Oh, yeah.
On the coverage.
It's something I never really thought about. And it just makes this whole seem like it should be so easy, but
it's not.
it's not.
I mean, it is nice to know that if you mess up one shot or have to pitch out once, you can still save the hole. Like, normally you cannot do that.
Wow, that was such a great shot from Hokom. Makes it through the gap, a little bit hugging that left-hand side, but she lays that down outside of the woods. She'll have a little jump putt to the green.
Wow, Juliana, even more pinched than I thought.
There is a little backdoor route over there, but there's a lot of trees, and it requires a pretty finessey shot to work your way through.
Paige attempting the flex sidearm to get to the pin. She will have to settle for a bogey unless she makes an amazing putt.
That is a scary death putt. I would bet on it that she will not be running that. Paige with a flex sidearm that looks great.
What is he doing?
Almost hits the spotter. He dodges at the last second. And she's down there for a birdie. Oh, she's got a window.
Yeah.
Cool shot.
That's to get the par, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yanks it, lands near the beehive. That's what those flags are.
30% of the field with a birdie, 30 with a par, and 30 with a bogey.
Oh, cool.
Yep. Sarah's so close to having a birdie look on this hole, but she'll still be on the green for her par. This is Paige for her par.
Yeah, I mean, she was running it. It was the right line. She just needed to be left of the tree. Paige for her birdie. Oh, wow. And that's why it's risky to go for the long putts.
Yes.
That was awesome. She hit some leaves immediately, but couldn't stop her. Oh, yeah.
Great bogey save.
One more time. Hits that branch. Oh, and just sneaks it over the rim.
Or sorry, double bogey save.
I thought it was a bogey.
No, I think it's a... Oh, wait, no, it's a bogey.
Yeah.
This is par 5.
Good par there.
Sarah with a tap in for her par. This hole's so fun with the sidearm. Juliana with a great par save as well with that little backdoor shot.
Yeah, her last up shot was awesome. All right, rounding it out, hole 9. I believe it's the second shortest hole on the course. No out of bounds to speak of, but a very tight gap that calls for like a hyzer sidearm or an Anheuser putter backhand. If you throw it too hard, you can travel down this hill and end up in the rough, which is very hard to putt out from. You're definitely thinking birdie here. Looks like a fierce from Paige. And it's a good angle, but what you find with the backhand is it tends to push long. That tree might have actually helped her.
It definitely stopped her from going really deep into the woods. And it's also downhill from the basket, pretty steeply.
This is a crave, and it's a little tight, but she should have a putt. Decent angle, it was just way too low. It cut rolls a bit. I think she's just on the edge and should have a pretty easy time getting par.
Yeah, the top of the hill is not a bad place to be. Oh, Paige puts it really high.
It's a pure, and she pretty much pures it.
Filters through everything.
Yeah, you gotta take the good luck with the bad luck. Oh, she's got a putt. I like the aggressive play there, and she stays close as well done.
I watched a handful of pretty gnarly rollaways on this green yesterday. It's hard packed. Sarah casting a spell on her disc and it sits down.
For birdie?
Oh yeah.
Very nice. And no 2-meter rule in effect here, so Paige will just get a nice chance for birdie here. She's pretty close.
There we go.
Good catch, tree. Great putt.
Finding the chains. Hokom with a nice par putt as well.
And Juliana with a par.
Only 5 birdies on the day on that hole. That surprises me. We'll see more tomorrow, I bet.
Paige, that got her back to 1 under, or wait, yeah, 1 under par, I think, for the round. Everybody else over par. Hokom just 1 over par, and Paige, actually. Juliana having a rough time. A couple bad shots and bad putts, but also just a lot of, like, rollaways and bad luck.
Yeah, that wind on the front 9 really does make a difference in the scoring. We saw it a lot cleaner yesterday. There's still a handful of people under par on the leaderboard, though. Missy Gannon shredding through 11. Heather Young under par as well with Katrina Allen and Owen Scoggins. But everyone kind of hovering right around the even par to +3 mark overall. We still have a lot of action to go in the back 9, though. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out. I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're 2 hot geeks. Honk.